the Rangers Journal now.
Good morning and welcome to the Rangers Journal pre-match thoughts as we get ready to the final countdown for Rangers v Celtic in the league. With me today, Old Faithful, Cammy. We always seem to get wheeled out for these ones, don't we, mate? How you doing?
Yes, yeah. Sunday morning we meet again. We'll just have to see. I don't have a huge expectation going into this one. It's just you don't know what Rangers you're going to get from game to game. So we'll see what happens come kick-off at 12:30. But looking forward to it as always.
That's it, and the Old Faithful form goes out the window for these ones, isn't it? We've also got trialist Billy. Billy, how you doing, mate?
Good. I'm an hour ahead here in Sweden, so it's actually just after midday. It's still a hell of a time to be playing football, though.
Aye, it is that. It is that. Just before we get into it, I just want to say thank you very much to Sobo, our newest member. Thank you very much. Okay, so Cammy, you say you're not confident. I was having a look on the lowdown yesterday, and I can kind of understand that. I think our form is incredibly erratic. We're loss, win, loss, win, loss. So could be anything, but our away form actually seems better than our home form at the minute. Do you think that the fans been back in that place for this one will have an effect? Do you think it'll help the team at all?
I think it can only help, a wee bit of an increase in the travelling support that have obviously been in there since 10:15 this morning, I think. So, which is just quite laughable, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think that you'll certainly hear the Rangers fans. I just hope that the players on the park give them something to keep 100% behind the team, because ultimately they both work in tandem. The crowd stays with it if the players on the park are giving them 100% and giving us something to shout about.
Yeah, agreed. And Billy, I think looking at who's come into that sort of temporary manager role, you can debate tactics and formations and all the rest of it, but you have to think the one thing that he's going to do is have them fired up for this and really kind of leaving it all on the park like they did on Thursday night.
Well, that's what will be interesting to see, because I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I don't know the answer to it. This team have turned up in Europe where the players are motivated. Some of them might be playing for moves. Some of them know they're on the telly, and it's easy to get up for those sorts of games. This will be quite an interesting test of Barry's management, because it's possibly the only time he'll manage Rangers in an Old Firm game, so he will have the battle fever on. Whether or not players who played 62 hours ago and, for them, they're out of the league and, they want to stay fit for Europe, that'll be interesting to see if he can get them fired up, because like Cammy was mentioning there, and like you've said, the form's not great. 4 losses out of 6. And the stand, and even one of those wins we were 2-0 down. That's the worry today, is that if we go a couple of goals down, we don't have an awful lot to play for in this game. We should do as Rangers fans. It's still big to us, but you wonder if players who are on loan or looking at their next move or whatever, are they going to want to empty themselves? So that's a bit of a concern, and I'm a wee bit worried about this whole. I don't know if you saw, we're playing 62 hours after we finished, and Real Madrid have lodged a complaint, and Carlo Ancelotti's talking about they will never play less than 72 hours between matches again, because players' unions have raised it as a physical and mental health issue. And we're going to put players who emptied themselves, played 2 hours plus penalties, and Celtic are going to go for us from the off, because you would. And that's where I'm a wee bit concerned about the fatigue if we go a goal or 2 down. And also, we were all kind of praising Václav Černý for refusing to come off and, digging in the other night. Would you be surprised to see him ping a muscle in the first 15 minutes of this game? Because 62 hours for an elite athlete's nothing. I mean, and maybe this sounds like paranoia, but I feel like if Celtic were in Europa League, this game would be getting played at 4 or 5 o'clock. Because it's us at 62 hours. I mean, Real Madrid are playing 67 hours and they're complaining about that. So I'm worried about the fatigue, especially if we go a goal. I maybe even a couple of goals down, because Celtic have got the finishing line in sight. We are kind of our finishing line now is kind of Europe. So that's the big worry for me, is the fatigue and actually the injuries, even maybe for Europa League.
Yeah, I think that is valid, and you hear it more and more these days. I think with the calendar, it's filling up between all the kind of national competitions, the domestic league, all that stuff. So, yeah, I think it is a concern. It's also, to an extent, the way the game's going, and I guess that's why you carry a big squad. However, on this occasion, that big squad hasn't really been utilised. So, team's out. I don't think there's too many shocks in here. So Butland, expected that. Tav, Suter, Balogun, that's going to be back three, obviously. Ridvan and Sterling in the wing-back positions, with Barron, Raskin and Diamande in the middle, and then Journey and Dessers up top. Cammy, are you surprised that is the same starting lineup as what started v Fenner?
Well, it's obviously the only change is Jeffty's not involved and Ridvan comes in at left back. But I think I was on the pod on Friday night and I said Jeffty's performances over the last couple of months haven't been great. So I'm quite happy to see essentially fresher legs coming in with Ridvan. I think he deserves an opportunity playing on his natural side. So it'll be interesting to see how we approach it. So certainly on paper it looks like the same sort of setup as Thursday night, but I'm quite surprised. I expected maybe a couple of changes just to freshen things up. Connor Barron, I'm pleased that it looked. I thought he'd maybe done his hammy at the time, but it's obviously just been cramp sort of thing. So I think they'll have a big impact in the middle of the park. Barron, Raskin, Diomande, their legs will have to be working to get in about Celtic. So yeah, there's nothing much I would really change. I think Igaman for Dessers, but Igaman isn't in the greatest of form at this precise moment. But that's probably the best that we've got available at this point. To go back to Billy's point about the Thursday-Sunday situation, I do get it. But ultimately, I think we talk about mentality, and I think the mentality, if the players go out thinking they're tired, they will be tired. So it's, I think a bit of positive mental attitude and try and go out with a mindset after this game. It's an international break. They're not all going away on international duty. So just empty yourself for the next 90 minutes and then you can put your feet up, unless you're obviously going away on international duty. But I just think the key to this today is starting the first 15, 20 minutes. I think within the first 15, 20 minutes, we will know whether it's going to be a difficult afternoon for us.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Agreed. I think we were debating this last night, and I'd be interested to get your take on it, Billy. Cammy was very much of the mind that we need to keep it tight, weather that kind of opening 20, 30 minute storm that we're likely to see. I was probably a bit more gung-ho. I was saying, nah, let's get in their face in that first 20 minutes, put them on the back foot for once. I think, Cammy obviously was concerned about the fitness of the players and whether they'd be able to handle it. I was kind of more thinking along the lines of, if we try and shut up and make a mistake, it leaves us very, very vulnerable. What are your thoughts, Billy? Do you think we should go at them from the off? Should we kind of keep a tight ship and hold it out?
I mean, I'm kind of caught between the two, because I totally see what you're saying. Because
get off the fence, you.
Okay, I'll get off the fence and say probably our best chance, I think, is actually is not so much trying to contain them and doing that thing where we do it in Europe where we sit in and we spring on them. So not the kind of game where we just try and soak up pressure, but the kind of game where you make them a wee bit tentative and make them sit back because they're worried about you kind of springing Cherny or someone in behind. I don't think we can just sit. This team's simply not good enough to sit and defend in a game against a decent opponent for 90 minutes. flip side of that is it is games in Europe where we've come under more pressure that we've actually looked more dangerous. So I could see Barry setting up to do that thing where we let them come at us, but in a very clear understanding that we're springing straight on them, and that's where we try and sow uncertainty, and that's where we try and make them kind of like a wee bit like a less gung-ho. You look at the results, and the best results we've had have been typically away in Europe or where teams are coming at us. So I don't think that. Yeah, I mean that sounds like I'm still sitting in the fence, but like I don't think we're going to have much of an option. I'm not sure we can go toe to toe for 90 minutes with Celtic today, energy wise. I know what Cammie's saying about positive mental attitude and stuff like that, but sometimes you can tell yourself you're tired, and sometimes you went to bed at 2:00 in the morning on Friday, you get a bit of light training on Saturday, and you're up at probably 8:00 this morning to go and play a serious game. And in all fairness, we even like the whole of Phil's time, and probably even before that, we haven't started great in these midday kickoffs a lot of the time. So that's a wee bit of a worry as well. But I'd say play the European game. Let Celtic come at us and spring on them. I would go along with what Cammie was saying. I would have quite liked to see Iggaman in today. I know he's a wee bit off form. He's still got those twinkle toes, and he's got the physicality that I think he can stand up to a Carter Vickers a bit more. I think Dessers can get brushed off in games, and when that happens, he gets a bit dispirited and drifts out of it. So, if he's making the runs today and getting in behind and, produces a couple of worldies, great. But I had that question of whether Iggaman might actually pose them more questions and give us a better chance of getting up the pitch when we're trying to spring, because you've got Czerny, but the ball doesn't stick with Dessers that often. Whereas I think if you've got Czerny and Iggaman, then you've got a better chance of actually moving up the pitch.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cammie, I think one of the key kind of players for them in derbies over the last few years has obviously been Callum McGregor. We spoke on the lowdown about potentially, playing Bayrami on our side to try and mark him out the game, which has worked quite well the last couple of times. He's no starting for them, and he's not on the bench either, apparently. They've also got the American boy Austin Trusty out, and Naroki's starting instead. Should that give our players a bit of hope that, we're kind of struggling for players and injuries, but also so are they?
It's interesting. I'm just looking at their starting lineup. It's very attacking front six, to be honest with you. I don't think they have a direct replacement for McGregor, who has we've given them the run of these games for far too often across recent years. So it'll be interesting to see who their sort of sitter is out of the three that they're playing. To be honest with you, but it's about what we do, and it's what Rangers turn up. I mean, I think what Billy says about the 12 o'clock kickoff, I'm delighted it's a 12:30 kickoff, because it generally takes us to 12:30 to actually wake up sometimes in these games. And it's not just against Celtic. It's traditionally, I spoke last night and I said I mean, it can't be great eating spaghetti at 9 o'clock in the morning and all that sort of stuff. It can't be great fun. A 3 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know why it can't happen, but obviously TV dictates. But I try to focus on Rangers. Dave, Celtic are a mile clear, but this is an opportunity for us in this game and the last Old Firm game of the season, just to try and get a wee bit of pride back and try to end the season with a wee bit of positivity. And it's up to these boys that are going to play today and Barry and his coaching staff to get them competitive for the 90 minutes.
That's it, mate. And I think that word pride is probably key here. We all know the league's done, right? It's not done mathematically, but it's done for all intents and purposes. We know this, but they can still salvage a lot of pride in those last two games if they approach it in the right way. Billy, I'm going to come to you first then. So predictions for this one. So firstly, win, lose or draw?
But my heart says 2-1 Rangers, my head maybe says something slightly different. Although hearing that McGregor's out makes me think I'll stick with the 2-1 Rangers today, actually, because he is so important for them. I'm actually more excited to see, well, not more excited, but the stardust a wee bit is seeing Barry on the touchline at Celtic Park, because, you know, he's not going to be cowed. He's gonna love it. I mean, it's one of those things you couldn't imagine. Like, if we won at Celtic Park, you couldn't imagine Philip Clement pulling Brendan Rodgers' pants down and spanking him with his Tom Fords, but you kind of couldn't imagine Barry doing something as mental as that. So, not saying it'll happen.
He's not pulling flipping Rodgers' pants down.
Well, I'm not saying it'll happen, but like I think actually, like, having Barry there does add a bit of interest to it. So I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers.
All right, and Cammy, same question to yourself.
Well, I think I said earlier, I think if you come back to me 20 minutes into the game, then I'll probably be able to give a prediction, but obviously you can't do that. I think, to be honest with you, I think the best we'll get today will be a draw. I just can't see enough creatively other than Cherny. I hope I'm wrong, and it's not. I am generally a positive person, but I think that if we can come out of this with a draw and we've been competitive for 90 minutes, anything more than that would be a great bonus, and I would certainly enjoy the rest of my Sunday. But I'll go for a 2-2.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll get the 2. I think it maybe be 1-1 or 1-0 to them personally. I think we're going to struggle. I think we saw signs on Thursday that potentially Dessers is hitting another one of his slump periods, which tend to make things very hard for us at the best of the times, and we're pretty much 100% reliant on Cherny. So, yeah, a few things concerning me for this one. A few reasons for positivity as well, for, as you say, McGregor out is a big kind of blow for them, Billy. So, yeah, maybe a draw, maybe a narrow loss. I'm certainly not comfortable with this one. I think I'm with you, Cammy. I'm quite concerned.
See the one thing, Dave, I meant to actually say it. I think we've spoke on these pre-matches on many occasions. The first goal in an Old Firm match is massive. It would be interesting to actually see how we approached it if we got the first goal, and what sort of impact it had on the game. Too often, particularly when we go across to their place, the game's been done after 25-30 minutes, and that's why I keep referencing the opening 15-20 minutes. It's staying in the game. If you can get a goal, brilliant. You know, start positively, you then get extra energy from that. But I think it would be interesting to see Rangers getting the first goal in this game, because it hasn't happened very often across recent years. So that is my hope for today. As much as I think a draw is the best we'll get, first goal in the game, and then it's game on.
Can I chip in there just to say we do know what actually it looks like when Rangers get the first goal in an Old Firm game at Parkhead. Gets VAR'd off. It's happened twice. It happened with Alfie and it happened with Rocky. And it's happened with other goals as well. So we do kind of know what happens. I mean, this is one of my hobby horses. I won't get on it just now, but when we've taken the lead, they just go, yeah, that, and same with even the handball that never was. So I would like to see us get the first goal and it actually stand. That would make me really happy. But anyway.
This is it. I think, what is it? Something like 5,000 days or something since we last had a penalty there. Yeah, we'll not go down that rabbit hole. All right. I think that's it for now. So, fine. Let's see how we go. I think you can see in the comments as well, it's a pretty mixed bag. I think for me, the key thing here is they need to play for a bit of pride. Even if they lost narrowly, there's ways of doing that and leaving yourself out on the pitch that actually the fans wouldn't be happy about, but they would accept. What I don't think will be accepted is if we go there and put in a lackluster display and it looks like we're not trying. So over at the team, let's see what they can do. We will be back after the game to react to it, win, lose, or draw, unless I break my computer. But otherwise, thanks for listening for now, and see you after the game. Every night's a Rangers Journal night.